Now, I want to talk a little bit about business with you. You're a businessman. You've been in the industry for quite a while. There's a lot of
Since I was 13 years old.
There's a lot of entrepreneurs in South Africa. What advice do you have for young, budding entrepreneurs who want to make it here?
So I think the main thing is that the dream is one thing. So many entrepreneurs are talking about the dream, all right? But the most important element is the roadmap to the dream. So let me give you an example. Unfortunately, I flew from Johannesburg to Cape Town this morning, but let's say I was going to drive. If I was going to drive, I knew the car that I was going to take, or the mode of transport. It might have been a bus. I knew where I needed to get petrol along the way. If we were going to break down, I've got the AA's phone number. If I wanted to stay over the night, I know where I could stay over the night. If I wanted to get some food, I knew the quick shop that I could stay at. All right. And ultimately, I knew my end destination was Cape Town. Where so many entrepreneurs go wrong is they get in the car and they just drive. And they find themselves, guess where? Now I'm in Durban. And they think, geez, I'm now in Durban, but I actually wanted to be in Cape Town. And they get back in the car, all right, and they drive again and they find themselves in Polokwane. Now they're in Polokwane and they're loving Polokwane. They're having the best time of their life and they've already forgotten about Cape Town. So what does the story translate back to? It translates back to, yes, my end destination, my vision is I want to get to Cape Town, but how do I actually get there? And where so many businesses go wrong is they do not have that roadmap to get there. And that's where the success or the failure lies. And it's not about, being passionate and throwing my life into it, and if I'm going to fail, I'm going to pick myself up and I'm going to dust myself off. It's about working smart. If you failed 10 times, maybe it's time to give up and go into the next opportunity. Because if you don't say after 10 times, let me go into the next opportunity, you're never going to even understand what that opportunity is. And you could lose it forever.
Did you fail?
I failed many times.
What was your biggest failure?
So I'm 37 years old now. I've had many big failures in my life, but one of the biggest changing moments in my life is I found myself at the age of 30 sitting in the High Court of the UK fighting one of the world's largest food companies. I had a product called the Sipper straw. It was a straw that you put into milk, and when you suck it out comes flavoured milkshake. It was a big international success, and this world's biggest food company ended up copying my product, and I realized very quickly that a patent was as strong as the amount of cash that you've got to defend. And I came to a settlement with that world's biggest food company, and very quickly I was annihilated out of the world's market, 60 countries, 150,000 retail stores I was in, and I lost absolutely everything. So at the age of 30, I had to move home back with my mom. It was very humbling.
Was it?
It was very humbling, but at least I made and lost it at an early age. Yeah. There's a guy you might have heard of called Einstein. He said insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
So what did you do differently?
I've done so much differently. I think one of the biggest things is I've got my roadmap. I've surrounded myself with what I call the grey-haired warriors, guys who have got real expertise. I believe that you need to focus 90% of your time on your strengths and 10% of your time on your weaknesses, and let other people's strengths be your weaknesses. And I've learned to leave your ego at the door.
Was that hard for you?
No. I think in the early days, in my 20s and early 30s, it was hard. But I've had some hard lessons. I also believe that you can learn from other people's mistakes. Don't repeat other people's mistakes.
Have you ever repeated a mistake and regretted it?
I don't live in regrets. I believe the reason why I repeated the mistake is because I hadn't learned that lesson. So it's kind of the universe is just whacking you over the head and saying, Andrew, you should have learned this lesson. Why you keep on making this mistake? And a lot about being a leader is about reflecting and not taking things personally. And when you make a mistake, step back, look at a bird's eye view, be quite objective about it, reflect on it, sleep on it, and then act on it.
I think that's not so easy for some people.
No, it's not easy for me. It's one of the hardest things in the world, but it's a lesson that you've got to learn. You know, it's a lesson called mindfulness. You know, what is mindfulness? It's being in the now. And it's really important.